Hello everyone, welcome to another Hack Engineering video. This one's going to be an exciting one because I'm off on holiday on my F900GS. So we thought it was the perfect time to run through everything that's been done to the bike, give you my impressions after 1500 miles of having used it, go through each and every little detail, things I like, things I don't like, modifications I've made, and obviously talk through the Nitron suspension that we recently had developed on this bike. Now that I've ridden it on and off road, I can give you a full breakdown. So probably the easiest thing to do is if I just launch straight into it. Working from the front wheel's completely standard. Front tyre is now a Metzeler Crew 4, which is the factory sort of optional off-road tyre, which I wanted because of what I do with this bike. This bike came from UK stock, so it had the normal road tyres on it when I bought it, which I've still got to work, but for what I'm doing with it now, certainly I need a more off-roady tyre. Back from that, we've got the Nitron TVT 25 Adventure shocks, which, as I say, now that I've done a little bit of mileage on them, I can give a bit more feedback with them, and I'll swing this in with the rear shocks so that we're talking about the suspension as a whole. But yeah, certainly the front end, I found the factory shocks, although I bottomed them out quite a bit, I found them pretty good, and I was, I suppose, almost nervous to see what difference it would really make. And I have to say, both front suspension and rear suspension, the difference is absolutely massive. Our first ride back when we left Nitron, I sort of thought, oh, you know, stiffer. It felt really good on the road, but I wondered if it would be right off-road. And actually, once you get it off-road and start doing almost like the road, or the green lane we're on now, where you've got little bumps and undulations and things like that, even though suspension is generally stiffer and you get better feedback and response, it actually still tackles those perfectly, so the bike really floats over them. You can carry a lot more speed, have a lot more confidence in it. The TVT is basically, it's got a third valve, so that's triple valve technology, and that third valve is a bottom out valve, which is so good you barely know it's there. It's really quite insane. This is part of my commute some days, and there's a particular dip that I still haven't quite learned where it is, and it's absolutely brutal, and every time it surprises me and I clatter into it. Before, you really get the shocks bottom out and it would almost try and bounce you off the bike a bit and be really quite horrible. Whereas now it really soaks that up and you're through it before you even know it. It's absolutely insane. Based on Nitron's recommendations, you know, Scott, I think, set it up to be fairly on the, not stiff, but on the stiffer side. So I've just softened it off a little bit and done a few little tweaks as I go. Absolutely love it. I think it's probably the biggest transformation on the bike. So yeah, huge thumbs up for the suspension. Next thing is the Crosspro crash protection. So if you're not familiar with kind of trail riding, especially on a bigger bike like this, you always want to have some sort of crash protection because you're not going out to crash, but if you're doing very tricky technical bits and bobs on a bigger bike like this, that ultimately, once you start to drop it, there's not a lot coming back from. You want something just to protect all the bodywork, protect the radiator especially. So I chose Crosspro. We supply them through our suppliers, who are the UK importers, which is Performance Parts. They were really kind, kind of gave me the heads up and worked with me on, I think, probably the first set of these into the country. So yeah, huge shout out to those guys. So I've gone for Crosspro's upper protection bars and lower protection bars. The upper ones are compatible with the factory lower ones from BMW. So when you buy this bike new, you can spec a fairly similar looking bar to that. They look really good. But what really sets these apart is they're actually made from a heat treated aluminium. So most crash bars are steel, which is heavy. Obviously it's very strong, but these being heat treated aluminium actually have really similar properties in terms of crashing essentially, but they weigh absolutely nothing. So they've added very minimal weight to the bike. Really impressed with those. They also fitted like factory. I set aside most of a day to fit these, and I think it took me about half an hour to have it all done. So yeah, really impressed with those. I also added a Crosspro quick shifter protection piece. So that's stainless steel, and it just means that you can't bash the actuator for the quick shifter. Although it's relatively well protected just by the surrounding components from factory, I just wanted a bit more protection on there. Moving on to electronics, done a few bits here, so I'll take a deep breath and I'll talk you through it.
Haven't we made it, my love? Oh.
This bike came with preparation for a nav device, so you can buy a BMW navigator that plugs straight onto this, and then basically you've got your sat nav on your bike and control it all through your handlebar controls, which is good. But actually there's quite a few different options out there now for Apple CarPlay or Android Auto. So I went for the Chiggy AOI 5. It basically just means that you can have your maps and everything on here, you know, WhatsApp, Spotify, all links in with my helmet intercom, and it literally clicks on like the BMW factory one. So you lock it in and it still works with all the factory controls. It even gives you telemetry readouts, so you can see your battery voltage, tyre pressures. Just really nice to have that there solid rather than your phone wobbling around. The other piece of electronics I've added, which I only added this week, is a quad lock wireless charger. I decided I probably want my phone somewhere nearby if I want to stop to take pictures, anything like that. It's really good wireless charger. It's also got an automatic cut-off. If the bike's battery is low, it'll turn off the charger. So basically the charger only really works either when your battery's got a really good bit of charge or the bike's running and it just stops your phone charger running the battery flat, which is very good because I don't want to get stranded anywhere. Final bit of electronics side of things. I recently bought a hex code GS911 diagnostics device, which plugs into the OBD port, which is under the seat on this. The best way of me describing it to, if you're not a bike person, if you're a car person, it's a bit like Carly in that you can do all of your full in-depth module scans and diagnostic scans, things like that, and you can also do coding options. So there's quite a few bits on there. For the moment, there are quite a few features that the GS911 can do on other bikes, not this one. I've done loads of little tweaks on my S1000RR. On this, I think they're still developing it where it's a relatively new bike. But what I have been able to do is code the heated handlebars from factory. I think this has 2 heating levels and you can code in up to 6. So I've done 6, and I also turned off the comfort indicators. But yeah, that's a really cool bit of kit. We've got it in the workshop, so if anyone does need any BMW Motorrad coding bits, let us know. Very happy to help with that. I think that's everything up the front. So what I'm going to do is get Ben behind the camera to shift himself around the back here and then talk you through from the other side the rear end and the other little bits and bobs I've done back here. Right, so we're around the back. As you can now see my legs. I'd just like to say that I'm really enjoying these, I can't remember exactly what they're called, BMW GS trophy boots or something like that. They're on our website as well. They're very squeaky, which isn't great for the video, but super comfy, really protective. Back to the bike. You've still got luggage on there. I'll get to that in a moment. These obviously are the crash protection bars on this side. This is another thing that I haven't mentioned in the past. So this is actually a factory extra, which is called the frame protection retrofit kit on our site. And it just gives you these plastic guards that clip on really nicely on both sides. And especially if you're wearing boots like these, that's just stopping your boots scuffing your frame. You know, on the road, if you're wearing sort of sporty boots, it's probably not going to matter, but wearing big boots and clattering it and gripping the bike and everything, it just means you're protecting all the important bits. We've then got the Akrapovic link pipe. We did a video specifically about this link pipe, which we'll link to in the description or something like that. Gets rid of a big collector box that sits under there. I mean, in my opinion, these bikes sound good from factory. They're not, I wouldn't say they're overly quiet, but this really unleashes the noise. You get really nice little sort of pops on upshifts and just gives the bike the character it should have. It's a really great engine, but it is muffled. So highly recommended. Another thing I've noticed with that, I've actually watched a few videos of other brands of link pipe. You know, Akrapovic aren't the only ones, but being a BMW factory fit Akrapovic exhaust, I wanted it all to match. And actually, yeah, as I say, I haven't watched videos of other ones. They've got funny little brackets to bolt on. You kind of have to tweak it all around, and you know, it's an adjustable fit and doesn't look like it's necessarily the best fit. Whereas the Akrapovic, the hanger here is welded on and it's a perfect fit. It's a single piece that bolts on, job done. Really, really like it. You can see then in here, you can see that Nitron rear shock, which I've already discussed. That's an R1 shock. So it's a single adjuster for compression and rebound, which so far I'm finding absolutely plenty in terms of getting the right feel to it. And I've also added the hydraulic preload adjuster, which is under here. You can't really see it because of my luggage straps, but that makes it a really easy adjustment for preload. So for my trip, I'm carrying quite a bit of luggage. I've got more to go on. I really wanted that adjustment to be nice and easy. Also, if you're going between road and off-road, I just tend to find that if I slacken off the preload a little bit, it just makes it a little bit more forgiving and you can get a bit more feel to it. This at the moment is on a bit of a prototype bracket. Scott is going to be sending me the production one once they've got them up and running. So next steps that I've added are Perron Moto. This is basically a pillion peg delete, but it doubles up as a bracket to put straps through, which is quite handy. It's exactly what I've used here, and all that stuff's mounted really nicely. Centre stand. So you can spec this bike from BMW with a centre stand. This, again, being a stock bike when I bought it rather than a factory order, didn't have a centre stand, so I retrofitted it. We have that kit on the website if you just look for F900GS centre stand retrofit kit, something like that. We'll put all the links in the description. You'll find that there. I just really prefer it if I'm trail riding and I get a rear punch or anything like that. To be able to put your bike on a centre stand is an absolute godsend, even just for cleaning it. This is a Perron Moto piece. Cross Pro actually make a part like this, but the Perron Moto version can be kind of customized to then run these bags really nicely. So that all bolts on. Again, really easy bolt on, and then you've got these as an extra, which I've just mentioned, and you've also got rackless supports, which bolt on under here. And all of that is designed to work perfectly with a Yamaha Tenere 700 Krieger OS base, and then you can use their universal bags on it. And it all straps to the Perron Moto rack really easily. So you've got straps here that go around a part that's all adapted to use Tenere parts perfectly. So I've got another bag to put on the top, but other than that, job done. I think I've talked through everything. Rear tyre I didn't mention actually, so that's Crew 4 matching the front. Same reason, I've just put a new one on. Didn't want to be starting with a part worn tyre. I think that's about everything on this bike. Most of this stuff is bolted straight on. There's a few bits like with the luggage where I've had to do a little bit of tweaking, but yeah, absolutely nothing major. And my reason for doing all of this in what might seem like a bit of a hurry, having not owned the bike very long, is that tonight, as we're filming, I'm getting the ferry to Santander, and then me and a bunch of friends are riding a combination of TET, which is Trans-European Trail, and ACT, which is basically technical off-roading all around Spain, Portugal for about 10 days, and then get the ferry back, which is going to be quite a bit of off-road work for this bike. I'm really excited. It's the first time of really properly trying it out. It's going to be a challenge for me and the bike. I'm relatively new to off-roading. I've been far more into bike track days and sort of sports bikes and things than adventure biking off-roading until fairly recently. But yeah, just wanted to film this video to give you guys an idea of what's gone into this bike. I've seen quite a few videos out there. Again, I'm not going to mention any names, and it's not a dig at them. Videos saying the most extreme F900GS build and things like that, and it's usually just putting lights and things on, which is fine if that's what you're into, but I'd like to think that this is a bit more of a true kind of extreme F900GS build, even though it's really not that extreme, to be honest. It's just a really good collection of carefully chosen bolt-on parts that have completely transformed this bike. So yeah, let us know what you think in the comments below. All I would close with is a really big thank you to Group 1, Brighton BMW Motorrad. As I said earlier, Brendan and Will and all the other guys there have been absolutely fantastic. They made buying this bike a pleasure and the ongoing ownership easy and pleasurable. Also, thank you to Nitron for using my bike for the development process. I'm so chuffed with how it's come back and what they've done with it and the care they've taken and the end result, the products that you can now buy on our website. Also, thank you to Performance Parts, again, just for their help with the Cross Pro parts and the Akrapovic link pipe. They are our suppliers, so if you see anything on their site that you want, any one of our customers, we're happy to help you. They're a great bunch of guys, again, proper bike nerds, and they do all the best bits. Thank you to Hack Engineering. That's kind of thanking myself in some ways, but yeah, it's been really cool to document this bike a bit through our social media channels and see the interest we get. I know not everyone's into bikes. I'm sorry that I've gone on a bit of a bike nerdery trip lately, but hopefully you still enjoy the content. And what I will do is I'll be getting on the ferry tonight, and I'll try and get as many videos, pictures on my trips that you can see this bike in action. Everyone I'm going on holiday with is on a KTM, so it'll also be a challenge to see who breaks down first. It's going to be the KTMs. I'm frazzled from trying to pack everything and get everything sorted for this trip, but I really hope you've enjoyed this video. If you don't know what bike to buy an F900GS, let us know which bits you need for it, and we'll catch you in a video soon. Bad timing.